been called to answer questions, and I really can't see why I should. I am the king after all. I think they're quite impertinent, quite honestly. I mean, why should anybody, apart from my treasurer and I, need to know how much money I've got? Don't talk about money. Good gracious me. How much money did I have? Well, I didn't have enough to start with. My wretched brother. There's another question here about my brother, Richard. Did I hate him? I didn't hate him, just thought he was incompetent. In 10 years, he was only 6 months in this country, and he bled us dry, and when I became king, there was hardly a penny in my treasure chests. All I can tell you is that when that fox in Paris took over my ancestral lands, my father's, not my mother's, you understand, my income went down by about 2/3, so it was difficult to know what to give the Queen to wear sometimes. Was I a rich king? Well, I should have been. There's another one here. Well, we're thinking about my own life. About, was I married? Well, I was married twice. I was married as a youngster, betrothed, made engaged to, and then married, had Visa of Gloucester, but we were second cousins. We were both descended from King Henry I, and I wasn't particularly enamoured of her, shall we say. In any case, the Pope said we shouldn't have got married, although he said you may, but we didn't. I divorced her as soon as I became king, and I married my lovely Isabella from Angoulême. And she, God bless her, gave me 5 children. Henry the young king, Richard the Duke of Cornwall, and 3 daughters. Joan, I have plans for her. I think she would make a very suitable wife for the King of Scotland, and that means my grandson will then be the King of Scotland. And we will see what we will see when that takes place. Oh dear, how long was my reign? Well, I became king in 1199, the year of our Lord, and I died, so I'm told, in 1216. And how did I die? Peaches. I think I was given poison, quite honestly, but they say it was peaches, so it's food poisoning, basically. And then, of course, the biggest bugbear of the whole of my reign was this. It's called the Great Charter, Magna Carta. Great Charter. All I want to do is throw it away. It's an infringement of my liberties. Why did I agree to it? Well, I couldn't do anything else. I didn't have a penny piece to my name, and the troops needed paying. The Queen needed her dinner, as I've said before. And I reckon I had a plan. If I agreed to it, I would then be able to do something about it. The Holy Father did actually say I didn't have any need to bother about it because it was wrested from me, my agreement. And the things that are in it, you've no idea. It starts off correctly. John, by the grace of God, King of England, Duke, ruler of Ireland, Duke of Normandy and Aquitaine, and Count of Anjou. Well, that's absolutely right, so I am, in spite of what the French are getting up to. And then it goes on, things about law. Who is the law in this country? I am. What I say is the law. The law is what I say. Things about here about trade, as if I'm interested in trade, though I suppose you have to be at some stage, otherwise there won't be any money. Fish weirs, so that, to stop the barges going up and down the Thames and the Medway and so on. And then about weight. Well, I can quite agree we need standard weights, but what I want to know is, why does the market reeve not get on top of it? You point people to do their job, well, they can't do it properly. The last clause of all is enough to make anybody feel sick, especially if they're a king. 25 barons to keep an eye on what I'm up to. How dare they? What do they know about ruling? Nothing. Dearie me, did I enjoy being king most of the time, but not when I was forced to agree to that bit of rubbish. I'm not going to pay any attention to that if I can possibly avoid it. My biggest achievement was getting money in the coffers, I can tell you. Seeing having told you what it was like when I became king, with hardly 2 pennies to rub together. My top soldier, well, William Marshall, my goodness me, but he, in the end, turned traitor, so I banned him and he's gone off to Ireland, the Earl of Pembroke. I think that's where he ought to stay. And then, of course, there was my half-brother William, who was married to the Countess of Salisbury. Well, unfortunately, he's a bit like a cushion, and he bears the impression of the last person who sat on him, so he wasn't always completely reliable, but he did have some good ideas, and I did say to the general of my army at the Battle of Bouvin, if only William had had some attention paid to him, he might not have lost it. But there we go, and he was very good at beating the French at their own game on ships. William had the bright idea, which it is a bright idea, I wish I'd had it myself, of firing at these French on their ships before we actually got alongside them, so they didn't like that, and that put paid to them, so that was quite a good idea. Now, next thing, did I meet anyone like Robin Hood? Well, I went to court on some occasions, so I probably did. I wasn't much interested in people who live in the tops of trees and eat boiled acorns or whatever it is they eat. I must have, yes, I certainly met people who stole money. He's supposed to have given it away, but I don't think he was that sort of person. I've no idea, so I don't know whether I met him or whether I didn't. I know I did hear about the Sheriff of Nottingham. He wasn't very keen on this, the chap, who seemed to dodge about all over the place. Sometimes Nottinghamshire, sometimes Yorkshire. I don't know what he thought he was getting up to, but there we go. Now, is there anything else here which I'm going to answer? Was I a good leader? Well, we'll leave that to history. I think I've done the best job I can. What were your views on yourself as king? Well, I think I've done a very good job within the limitations, especially that wretched charter. I think that's about all I'm going to answer. And the strictest rule, do what I say when I say it.